Why do people hate the word submit, even though they submit to someone every single day? Welcome back to I Do Now What. I'm your host, Victoria Doss, and we're about to get into why people hate the word submit, even though they do it every single day. You're probably like, I don't submit every day. Yes, you do. People have a problem with the word submit when it's in the context of a wife submitting to their husband, which is what the Bible says. Wives, submit to your own husbands. But they think that submission means like, oh, the husband can just abuse that and manipulate them and gaslight them and whatever. Go make me a sandwich right now. That's what they associate submission with. That's not submission. I don't know what that is. Every single one of you that are watching, you submit in one way or another every day to somebody or something. For example, when your boss tells you, hey, I need this on my desk by 5 p.m. today. You're like, okay, yes, sir. No questions asked. If the HR person comes in and says, hey, your skirt is too short, you need to get a longer skirt tomorrow. You're like, okay, got it. You're submitting to their leadership. When you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, you have this condition, I'm going to need you to take these meds so that you can feel better. You're like, okay. When the city trash department says, I need you to put your trash cans on the side of the road every Wednesday morning, you say, okay. When the speed limit sign says go 65, you go 65. And when you don't, and you get pulled over by the police, and the police says, hey, you need to pay this ticket because you didn't go 65. You say, okay, I'm so sorry. I won't do it again. When the government says you need to file your taxes by this date, you say, okay, sure thing, Uncle Sam. If a stranger puts a sign up in their yard that says no trespassing, you obey that sign, even though you don't know them. If your kid's school says no peanuts allowed, this is a peanut-free school, you say, okay, no more PB&Js for you, Tommy. So I'm just trying to figure out the concept of submission, why it's so foreign to people when they submit on a daily basis, like literally on a daily basis. It's only submitting to your husband. So what's the difference between your husband and all these other examples? All these other examples were authorities and rules that are set to keep you safe, right? Authorities, so police, government, your boss, and then the ones that are set to keep you safe, the speed limit sign, beware of dog, whatever. There's rules to keep you safe that you submit to. But your husband, is he not an authority to you? Why do you not view your husband as an authority to you? I know you want to view him as your equal. Yes, you guys are equal in importance, but you are not equal in function. You are not equal in your roles. You have different roles. His role is above you. That does not mean that you are just a lesser being, like you're just not important. Women are weak. That's not what that means. The order is God, who is above your husband. Your husband got to submit to God too. And then there's you. And then there's the kids. It is not flawed. It is perfect. But people want to change the wife and the husband, and they want to just put it, side by side. We are equals. I tell you what to do, and you might tell me what to do. Actually, most people usually put the wife right here, and they talk to their husband. Anyway, I'm going to tell you what submission does look like in a healthy marriage, healthy Christian marriage. Basically, it just means that you trust your husband's leadership. I see my husband as the authority. I see my husband as the head over me. He has final say-so in decision making. Does that mean that I never make a decision ever again in my life now that I'm married and have a husband? No, I make plenty of decisions all day long. It's exhausting, actually. But it's very freeing to know that I don't have to have the final say-so on everything. I can just put my inputs in there. That's another thing. People think that if you submit as a wife, if you submit to your husband, that means that you have no voice. You have no opinion. You're not allowed to have an opinion. It would be rude for you to speak your opinion or give your 2 cents. That couldn't be further from the truth. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that a wife cannot speak to her husband and give her perspective. Like, it never ever says that anywhere. I can give my 2 cents and my husband can takes it into consideration before he makes his final decision. So he weighs both of what we're saying. Husband, as the head, he sees more than I do as the head. I'm going to give you a quick example. So one time I saw someone posting on Facebook some way to get money really fast, super easy. It had something to do with crypto. It was almost like an MLM for crypto. And I was like, Henry, let's do this. It's just $200. We got to put $200 in, but we're going to make like $36,000 like in 2 months. And he was like, no. And I was like, oh gosh, why won't he listen to me? Babe, listen, look at this person. Look at these people. Look at what they're doing. We can do this. All we got to do is put in the $200. And he was like, no. And I'm just like, oh, you know, I didn't want to keep going and going because that's disrespectful. But I did it subtly, and that was still disrespectful. You know, we had got a few extra $100 the next check, and I was like, oh, babe, this would be perfect. We got extra money that we could put aside. This is meant for this. He was like, you know what? Go ahead. Not because he finally saw the vision that I had, not because of that, but because I was sinning in nagging him. That's a sin. And he didn't want me to be sinning. So he was like, all right, let's do it. He didn't tell me this until later on. We did it. So we did it. We put in the money and never got that back. Never saw a dime of return. So we were negative 200 from that. And it's like, guess I should have listened to my husband. He saw further than me. He saw further than what I was seeing. Oftentimes, wives can see lots of puzzle pieces that, like, we can see a whole corner right here, or a whole section right here, or this area. But husbands often can see a lot more. They can see the bigger picture. They can back up and see the bigger picture and make decisions based off of what they see. I also want to say submission does not mean that you are weak. It takes a strong person to be able to just give all that control up. It's very hard for someone who likes control and needs to feel in control. It's definitely a challenge to just give that up. Do I still have control over a lot of things? Yes, as my husband sees fit. We work together. I'm not working for him. We work together. There's just a hierarchy there. And the more that you surrender to it, the easier it becomes. If you fight it the whole time, y'all are going to be fighting the whole time. I will add this necessary disclaimer that yes, some men do take advantage of this dynamic and this concept, this biblical concept. They take advantage of it and use it to manipulate, or maybe they are just a terrible leader and they're, terrible with finances and they're just leading the family into more and more and more and more debt. So then you have to deal with, okay, what should a wife that does know better do if her husband is leading them into like their demise? That's going to be a whole different episode. And I'm probably going to do that one as a joint episode with Henry on our Henry and Victoria podcast rather than just an episode with me. Hope you guys found some value in this episode. I hope that I made submission less of a scary word. If you guys want, you can drop in the comments some other examples of submission that is healthy, that is positive, that is biblically based, but real life examples so people can see. I'm sure that I left out plenty of examples. This video was brought to you by Caruso, which is a Christian apparel line that has bold messages that you can share your faith and wear your faith wherever you go. The average t-shirt is read 3,000 times over its lifetime. So if you have a Caruso t-shirt and it has the potential of being read 3,000 times, that's 3,000 chances that someone could see the gospel or see, just one message of Christ. And you don't even have to say a word. Just let your shirt do the talking. I'll leave the link down below where you guys can grab our discount code and shop around on there. All right, it's been good. I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.